I don't know how that thing heats up. Oh, I don't know if I charged it up enough. I did.
Probably because it's a hot day
Aye, but that thing,
and there's no aircon.
That thing.
What is with this, by the way?
I don't know. I never even noticed it.
Well,
there's a tape on it.
Yeah, but you can't get it off.
It's probably been on there since new. It was a single person that owned it. I'm gonna have to get some petrol.
Just get it on the petrol station on the way back. The one going out the way.
Aye, on the left.
Back there, yeah.
Yeah. Is that still where you get the bus at, I suppose? This fucking weird moon out on Sunday. Was it shit to me? You always do this to me. I can't remember what side to fucking feel this in this. I've never felt. I have. I think it's your side.
Oh, I can't see if it is or not.
I think it's your side. We'll reach over anyway.
Apparently they've changed the pumps to not be able to do that anymore.
Oh, have they?
In some of the places, I don't know, but Tommy was trying to do that a couple of weeks ago and they didn't let him do it.
Wow. I was wanting to drive through there. Oh. Oh, it's this side, Jonah. It is this side.
I didn't think it was my side anyway.
forgot what petrol this thing takes. Because it's E10 and E5. So I put E10 in it, but the Granada takes E5. You know. Oh, I forgot to switch that fucking thing off. Alrighty then. That was £47.50 to fill it up. change cars. The original ones.
The adhesive is now.
Yeah, the adhesive I got when I bought them was brilliant. But it's only because I had to change cars.
Yeah.
So that stuff that I got out on eBay. So does that mean I need to try and get like fucking better quality adhesive or something?
Well, adhesive that can be moved. Because that adhesive can't be moved. Right?
Yeah, that's right. Aye. It's fucking annoying. Is the Sally open? Or did it? Don't know if it is.
Electric.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's their plan, don't bother fixing the road. Just put fucking 20 seconds up.
Because it's cheaper for them to put the signs up than it is for them to fix the road.
And then they're calling the people in it believing bullshit.
Look, a helicopter. That's quite close. Oh look, it's one of those things. I don't know what that is. You'll see when you go past. What is that?
Are they doing something there?
Yeah. Did it nearby as well recently? I don't know what it is.
That's what the helicopter's doing as well. Wasn't it something to do with SSEN?
I don't know. But there's more wind farms. Just, you can see them from where I live.
Yeah. Do you know who else that died yet?
Yeah, I do. Is that the Coast Guard?
Sure.
They're awful close.
sailing all the way up, but the heat probably disturbs it. Probably.
Hello? Should I get the bus? Yeah. Because my dad's just driving in now. Hello? Yeah. Okay, bye.
Let's see if we find it. Where does it land? It's annoying, that thing. The last time it stuck to your leg.
Okay, well.
Yeah. That's weird, isn't it?
Under the seat.
It must be. It's fucking strange. It's really sticky.
Okay, unless it's stuck to my arse.
I know, it must have done.
It's not on me.
So it's fell down, straight down. Weird. It's really annoying, that fucking thing.
I'm gonna go back in my house.
Are you sure it's not there, Rana?
It's not. I don't know where it went.
It's not on you.
No, I've looked.
You gotta do a search.
What?
That's fucking weird, isn't it? How could it go missing?
I'm sorry to say this, but you need to get a new adhesive.
I know, but I can't get that thing.
Do you think it's on me?
I don't want you to find it when I'm away, because then I'll never be able to get it again.
It's not on me.
So it fell straight down there.
I don't know.
Right. So how the fuck, where could it be? It's not really this, it's just... It's really weird. How could that go missing? It was there a minute ago. Alright.
Look under your seat.
Eh? Alright, you look.
Behind you.
Hmm?
I'm behind you.
You would know if it was stuck to you, wouldn't you?
I've checked. Look.
That's fucking strange. Did I put it somewhere? How could I have done? Maybe I never put it back up. What?
You want to use my bathroom?
No, I don't. But how could you find it? Well, have you looked at your coat, yeah? It's not there. See you later. Yeah, but it's the thing that I need. The adhesive's easy bit. Plastic thing. Bye. It's a really cool little car, this. It really is. It's just the ticket. Oh guys, yeah. Unbelievable, yes. So we're heading home, guys. Yeah. Yeah. Jesus. Got it on airplane mode, try to stop it from heating up too much. fucking jingling like fuck. I think it's just going to do that. Should be alright in there. Got an engine carriageway. I've spent my whole life well, I haven't. I try and avoid being around people that they're just difficult to be around, aren't they? Like moody and selfish, and it's because I opted out of, well, I was pushed out of marriage, or whatever way it happened. I don't have to put up with it. It's fantastic. We're doing 50. 70. Numpty 70. The twin axle caravan. You thought you'd have pulled back in. Yeah, it is now. offer. So guys, there's Archie Ferguson. Yes.
From Police Scotland. Chief Superintendent Rob Hay is the president of the Association of Scottish Police Superintendents. He told Lunchtime Live the system needs both more prison capacity and more rehabilitation for offenders.
We need both in the system, we need both to be effective. So when the Scottish Government talk about an increase in capacity, that's a really welcome message because that is needed in the system right now. But we absolutely need to look at steps to reduce reoffending. You know, if you look at prisoners that are released currently, within about a year, 80% of them are offending again. You know, so that is not a sign of a system that's working effectively in terms of rehabilitation. But what prison custody does provide is it provides a respite for communities, it provides safety for victims from those particular offenders. So we absolutely need a blended approach, because of the concern for our members is that this begins to affect policing decisions made on the street around about should we be arresting this person or the next person, thinking about, well, is there anywhere to put them ultimately in terms of the prison system. So we don't want to get ourselves in that position.
Rob Hay, who's from the Association of Scottish Police Superintendents there. Lots for the newly appointed Justice Minister to get stuck into. Neil Gray was on a visit to HMP Glasgow today. It's scheduled to replace Barlini in a couple of years' time. And I got his reaction to what Chief Superintendent Hay had to say.
So the evidence points to the fact that shorter custodial sentences are not effective at reducing reoffending, and that's part of the reason why the Scottish Government has come forward with a presumption against short-term sentences in order to take forward the more effective community disposals that are more effective at reducing reoffending. So I agree with Rob Hay in that regard, and had a very good conversation with him and colleagues this morning to that effect. Of course, we need to make sure that our custodial capacity is there to deal with the rising level of serious criminality that's come through the system, and that's why I was pleased to be able to visit the new HMP Glasgow that's replacing Barlini today, and the work is progressing to deliver the new HMP Highland in order to provide that capacity in the system to deal with the fact that we've got an increased average prison sentences being handed down and an increase in longer term prisoners in the population. But we really need to move to a preventative space, and that's what I think I'm keen to work with the police and other partners on delivering.
In terms of HMP Glasgow, it's only going to increase capacity by around 357 places at a cost now of £1 billion. You've already released, 614 prisoners in the 6 months up to the beginning of May, so it wouldn't even cover them. Is that really £1 billion well spent?
Well, there's a number of points in there. First of all, we've released far fewer prisoners in order to deal with some of the capacity issues that we've got compared to other parts of the UK, which has seen substantially higher levels of release come through the system. Secondly, in terms of the cost of HMP Glasgow, everybody would understand that geopolitical events such as Russia's illegal war in Ukraine has meant that construction inflation, construction costs have gone up significantly, and projects like HMP Glasgow are not immune from that. And next week I'm going to be taking a debate to Parliament where we're going to discuss how we take forward, how we deliver a sustainable prison population. Part of that is around capacity and ensuring that we are delivering more capacity. Glasgow, Highland are examples of an increase in capacity coming through, but also how we are more sustainably bringing forward a preventative agenda, preventing people ending up in the justice system in the first place, and looking to the recommendations that came from the Sentencing and Penal Commission that we will need to consider as we answer some of these questions.
What about rehab and prevention then? Where's the money for that? If we're spending more than £1 billion on prisons, where's the cash for the prevention and the rehabilitation?
Yeah, so there is a significant investment already going into the space. The investment of was 170 million into Community Justice Scotland, the investment of 26 million into cash back for communities. These are all investments in order to see better usage of our whole justice system to deal with the demands that are coming through from our courts, but also to ensure that the interests of victims and of protecting society are at the forefront. And we protect victims best by ensuring that they don't become a victim in the first place and reducing the level of criminality in our system. And we know that recorded crime is at a new record low. I had the opportunity this morning to thank Police Scotland for the incredible work that they have done, particularly over the last week when we have seen the scenes that we have, particularly the streets of Glasgow with what can only be described as racist buggery, but in other parts of Scotland as well.
I wanted to ask you about that because this conference for chief superintendents is about burnout, and in terms of policing, chief police officers say they're dealing with a 25% increase in protest activity since just last year, and they're also pointing out that officer numbers have been reduced to the levels that they last were 20 years ago in 2006. So will there be money for extra officers to give them some respite?
So I totally understand the demands that there are upon our police officers at all ranks and levels. I recognise the increased complexity and demand that's coming through, and one of those is the increased need around what we can describe as protest in some instances. Otherwise, I think the scenes that we saw in Glasgow 10 days ago were an appalling example of racist thuggery and intimidation designed to divide and to intimidate communities. So the government, the police and the justice authorities clearly will take a very robust line to ensure that communities feel safe, that people feel safe going about where they live, and ensure that those that are
Stephen Ogilvy's not going to be safe, is he?
Have the resources that they need to do so.
They might feel safer if there were more officers, though. I don't think you've said that there will be more, will it?
Well, we've provided increased, real terms increase to the police budget, £86 million extra this year, at £1.7 billion in total. That means that we can protect police numbers at 16,500. The Chief Constable, who's got responsibility for the operational response independent.
Well, that was a bit of a...
It says that the budget
I was thinking about going in the other lane and then...
level of assurance. I recognise that across all levels of public service there are demands and pressures because of the impact that inflation has had in recent years and the complexity that has been dealt with across the system, and we will seek to support those in the front line to deliver deliver against those.
This is our first conversation since you were appointed as Justice Secretary. I suppose people only really ever come into contact with the justice system when something's gone badly wrong. We've talked about issues with police numbers, issues with prison spaces, issues with reoffending and protest activity. Have you been handed a bit of a poison chalice here?
No, I'm building upon an incredibly strong legacy from not just Angela Constance, but predecessors before.
What an absolute liar. He's learned how to lie.
That have delivered a robust justice system and delivered reform to our justice system, not least the fact that we have a unified force, Police Scotland, and its ability to respond to incidents like that in Glasgow in live time is because of the reform process that has come through. And I want to build upon that and to continue the work of ensuring that we have a justice system that meets the needs of modern Scotland, protects victims and supports the protection of communities up and down the country. That is the first duty of government, and I intend to deliver upon that.
What's tougher, health or justice?
I think that there are different challenges, but actually the challenge is very similar. In the health service, I was looking to seek to prevent people ending up in hospital and find them kept as close to home as possible. We saw waiting lists fall under my tenure, and now I'm looking to try to prevent people entering the justice system in the first place.
The Justice Secretary, Neil Gray, speaking to me a little earlier. Now the time is 16 minutes past 5, and it is, I suppose you could say, a strange time in British politics. The Prime Minister's rubbing shoulders with world leaders on the international stage, while all the chat here at home is around a leadership challenge which could be launched any day now. Sir Keir Starmer has warned Andy Burnham against an immediate challenge to his leadership if he becomes an MP, urging him to focus instead on the election for a new Greater Manchester mayor. Sir Keir was speaking to the BBC at the G7 summit in France.
We tip straight out of Makerfield if Andy Burnham wins, and I hope he does, and that's why I've told our activists and members to all go and support him, so I hope he wins. But we then tip straight into the Manchester mayoralty by-election, because that's under a timeline that starts pretty well immediately. So we're all going to have to focus on that.
But the former UK Health Secretary, Wes Streeting, has said he's prepared to launch a campaign to oust Sir Keir Starmer as early as next week, after giving him time to consider his position this weekend. Well, let's get more on all of this now with George Parker, who's the political editor at the Financial Times. George, have they put the cart before the horse here? They haven't won the Makerfield election yet.
No, I spent a few days up in Makerfield this week, but it's really interesting to speak to members of the Burnham campaign team who are talking openly about what will happen after Andy Burnham's won the election. The most recent opinion poll I saw gave Andy Burnham a 5-point lead over Reform UK in Makerfield. By no means a slam dunk, but nevertheless the general assumption is, in Downing Street, in the bookmakers as well, and certainly in the Burnham campaign teams, that he is going to win, and that all political hell will break loose sometime in the early hours of Friday morning.
Yeah, the Prime Minister telling our political editor there that Andy Burnham should not launch a leadership bid, but should instead concentrate on who might replace him as Greater Manchester Mayor. Also dangling the carrot of a cabinet post. Are there deals being done in the background, do you think?
Well, it's going to be a very... If Andy Burnham wins in Makerfield, of course we should stress this is a big if, but if he does win, then I think it's going to be a very crucial weekend and difficult weekend for Keir Starmer. There'll be a conversation between Andy Burnham and Keir Starmer over the weekend, most cabinet members think, where Andy Burnham will say to him, look, you have set a timetable for your departure, probably around the time of the Labour conference in September. And in exchange, I would suspect that Keir Starmer will say, look, there's a process for starting a contest, go ahead if you want to do it. And in the meantime, how about serving in my cabinet? And challenging Andy Burnham basically to look a little bit disloyal by turning that down. But his supporters, Andy Burnham's supporters, have made it clear he wouldn't accept any such job.
I was going to say, even if Andy Burnham doesn't win, or that discussion goes differently, Wes Streeting says he's going to launch a leadership bid sooner rather than later. Does he have to move sooner because he's worried he might lose support within the Labour Party?
Possibly. I mean, we've been around this track, of course, once before, just after the May local elections, where Wes Streeting said he was going to launch a challenge and then didn't appear to have the 81 names of Labour MPs needed to launch that challenge, and he may face a similar problem again next week. But certainly he thinks he can still win. The polls suggest otherwise, that in a head-to-head contest with Andy Burnham that he'd probably lose. And some people speculate that maybe Andy Burnham might offer him a job in the cabinet to buy him off. But nevertheless, Weststreet has been setting out some ideas on the economy. It does sound like he's thinking seriously about this, and he could yet be a serious contender.
Is there anybody there urging the Prime Minister to stay put, given that he, almost 2 years ago won a massive mandate, and this might be considered a bit of a coup by any of his challengers?
It's a complete coup. I mean, I think most people looking at this from outside Britain would think, what on earth's going on? He's got a huge majority. He's won a 5-year mandate. When you try to explain to people what it is that he's done wrong, you say, well, he did something with winter fuel payments and a bit disappointing in various areas. But what you might say is that it's become a sort of really dramatic moment where the Labour Party have just
He's an absolute
concluded that most of them lose their seats if Keir Starmer remains Prime Minister, and he has to go. The only problem is that Andy Burnham is someone who's untested. He's unknown by a vast majority of Labour MPs down here who've never met him. When Andy Burnham left Westminster back in 2017, lots of them don't even know who he is, and his policy programme is untested. So we're entering into very uncharted waters, I think.
And this is the sort of thing that the Labour Party used to criticise the Tories for all the time. All, the discussion over who leads the party, and all the internal machinations that we know so much after Brexit and through COVID. Is there any danger that this will damage them further?
Absolutely. I mean, there are some people who think that things can't get worse in politics. Well, I think we've proven in this country beyond any doubt that things can get worse. And yes, I mean, this is the Labour Party is about to engage in exactly what they used to criticise Conservatives for doing, having political instability, political chaos, changing leaders, and rolling the dice essentially. And in the meantime, the country, the governance of the country goes into deep freeze. So yes, there is a danger this could go wrong for the Labour Party, and it's entirely possible, I suspect, in 6 months' time, people might be saying, well, maybe actually Starmer wasn't quite so bad after all.
Yeah. You don't know what you've lost until it's gone, hey? You never know. George, thank you so much for taking us through all of that. George Parker, who's political editor at the FT.
This is BBC Radio Scotland.
Now, the reliability of West Coast ferry services should increase and improve with the introduction of newer, younger vessels. That's the promise from the Chief Executive of CalMac. Duncan Mackinson has told the Scottish Affairs Committee at Westminster that there was significant disruption in April and May, with almost a third of their vessels out of action. MPs are questioning representatives from the Scottish Government and the ferry provider, and our reporter Eileen McDonald was listening to that discussion. Eileen, thank you for joining us this afternoon. CalMac, first up then, obviously there's been a significant disruption on the network in the sort of the spring months. What did management have to say about that disruption?
Significant disruption as described by Duncan Mackinson previously and indeed again today, although this has improved and abated somewhat because of repairs and maintenance and indeed the introduction of 2 new vessels. There is though some way to go, he says, indeed to meet that's CalMac's corporate plan to be consistently safe and reliable by 2031. Why? Well, Mr Mackinson says the average age of the fleet, that's 37 ferries, is around 26 years old. Now he says more vessels, newer and more modern, will meet lots of aims, lots of objectives, although not all, especially with 3 to 4 more ferries expected between this summer and next year. Now this is what CalMac's CEO, that's Duncan Mackinson, had to say to MPs today.
Key to us is maintaining new vessels coming into our fleet, and roughly speaking, because of the nature of the size of our fleet and the average operating age needs to be about 30 years, we need a new vessel every kind of 1 year to 18 months to maintain that reliability.
And I know there's been quite a lot of talk about how CalMac operates and interacts with other transport agencies, including CMAL. There has been some discussion about merging some of these bodies. Was there any talk of that at committee today?
Yes, indeed. Yes, put simply, they seem to be in favour of that too. Now, just to give a bit of context here, to put some flesh on the bones here, this has been long talked about and something many communities and representatives up and down the West Coast have been calling for, indeed demanding the merger of CalMac, who run the ferries, CMAL, who own the ferries, ports, harbours and Transport Scotland. Now, although the latter, that's Transport Scotland, wasn't mentioned today, there was a direct question from Inverness Skye and Ross MP, that's Angus MacDonald, asking about the merger of CMAL and CalMac and the potential benefits of this too. Now, here is Fleet Director of CalMac, that's Louis Devolf. He says there could be lots of positives working as one body from the design to the delivery of ferries.
Benefits of being one organisation that we would collectively own the end-to-end process from full sets of ferries and infrastructure all the way to the delivery of those. And currently we can deliver that together with the partners in CMAL by working together, but it is true that if we were one organisation that would be easier.
And ferries is one way to get through Ireland and the mainland. Other direct links would be fixed links, tunnels, bridges and causeways. That was sort of the main focus of the meeting today. What did they say about that?
Indeed it was, and this indeed was the final session of the inquiry on the matter too. What was said? Well, the three representatives from Shetland, Hightrans and HIE all agreed that the main challenge to deliver improvements in ferry services was funding and indeed a lack of money too. Councillor Maura Glyle from Shetland telling the committee that it's beyond the council's ability to upgrade all piers and vessels, and even supposing that happened, she says, there would still be capacity issues, staffing issues, carbon emissions, and you're indeed open to the vagaries of the weather too. Therefore, the idea of building fixed links like bridges, tunnels, causeways and so on becomes more appealing. Now, we're talking about inter-island fixed crossings here between islands in the Northern Isles and the Western Isles for the moment. They say there will be many benefits, saving time for commuters, job prospects, saving money for businesses like the live transport of cargo like fish, and indeed socially with perhaps an increase in population. But despite the discussion, the potential benefits and indeed the negatives too, these projects are making waves to a certain extent. This is all a long way off though, isn't it? And that's without mentioning funding, the millions involved bringing all of this to fruition, and it could be said is currently a drop in the ocean.
Thank you. Our reporter in Inverness, I'm MacDonald. Now the countdown is on ahead of Scotland's next World Cup match against Morocco on Friday night. The Tartan Army are still in Boston ahead of the game, as is our sports reporter Phil Goodline. And Phil, has there been a sort of changeover of fans, Scotland fans?
No, Laura. Hello and welcome. And I'm sorry if I'm cut with that answer because
it's still there.
You said the countdown was on. I'm not sure if any of these guys actually know that there's a game of football happening on Friday night. There's just been parties. I'll tell you, you just came at just the moment after I've seen the funniest thing so far this week, which was a fast-talking Scotsman who I assume hasn't had solids for breakfast, who was speaking to one of the many chess players in the square that I'm in downtown Boston, a square that's set up for open-air chess and for people to just relax. And this guy comes up to him and starts in a fast-talking Fife accent, I think, explained to this chess master that he's always wanted to play chess, but he's never had time because being with the Tartan Army sees him go all around the world and he doesn't have time to play chess. And this chess master just looked at him and just sort of sagely nodded his head. It's that sort of atmosphere, I have to say, between matches. So yes, there are 4 flights expected from Scotland today straight into Boston. That will bolster the numbers, but at the moment people just waiting for Friday.
Is there any beer left?
It's been restocked, and that's genuine. It's been restocked. You know, they know how to drink here. I'll give Bostonians that. When you think of the 4th of July celebrations, it's a long, long weekend of partying. Well, the bars here ran out of beer quicker than they do for the 4th of July. The bar, like the tap room in front of me, that Billy Deacon is the general manager.
I want to say the last week, probably since Thursday, we've just been crazy busy, usually open to close.
You ran out of beer?
Just a little. Boston Lager was, I think, the Tartan Army's taste here. and
I got
American
a
Light.
bunch of morons.
But we sold more Boston Lager and American Light than we did than we have in ever. You know, we've been open 6 years. It's the most that we've seen go through.
And that was more than the 4th of July celebrations, which is always
Roadworks here. That's what
part of the year.
I thought it was just like every day fucking
weekends always a huge
rush hour, but it's not
piece of business for us. And New Year's, but and of course we also celebrate Oktoberfest in the end of September, and that's always a big weekend.
So do you have an amount of beer that you've sold?
Well, last week we sold over 3,000 pints, and yeah, that was an 8-day span. 3,000 pints.
So they're trying to glorify heavy drinking.
American Light.
And the next minute they're persecuting us back home in Scotland,
A game of chess, and
putting the price of cheap alcohol up. You couldn't make it up.
As long as they're all still alive and singing, we will do well. I'm very sure.
The hypocrisy.
From Boston. The time now is 5:30. And let's get the very latest news with Nina. Concerns have been raised today over the early release of prisoners and the welfare of police officers at a conference attended by senior leaders from Police Scotland. Chief Superintendent Rob Hay, President of the Association of Scottish Police Superintendents, says that the system needs both more prison capacity and more rehabilitation for offenders. The newly appointed Justice Minister Neil Gray was on a visit to HMP Glasgow, which will replace Barlinnie Prison, and he gave us
That's near Rob Rice, the food market.
Points to the fact that shorter
Why are they going into that lane?
Are reducing reoffending, and that's part of the reason.
Do you think it's going to be better?
A presumption against.
Oh look, it's this lane you need to be in.
To take forward the more effective community disposals that are more effective at reducing reoffending.
Donald Trump says the US agreement with Iran will be signed shortly and could be done tomorrow. The president is giving a news conference at the G7 summit now. A patient has died and 3 people taken to hospital after an ambulance collided with a car in Glasgow. Emergency services were called to Balmoral Road around 9 o'clock last night. Police said the patient later died in hospital following a medical matter. 2 ambulance staff and a student paramedic were injured. The 49-year-old driver of the car was arrested in connection with road traffic offences. The Prime Minister has said it would not be wise for Andy Burnham, the Mayor of Greater Manchester, to initiate an immediate leadership challenge if he wins the Makerfield by-election tomorrow. Sir Keir Starmer told the BBC that if Mr Burnham were to win, Labour's priority must be to focus on the mayoral by-election his victory would cause. A full list of candidates in the Makerfield by-election is available on the BBC News website. CalMac's chief executive has told the Scottish Affairs Committee that ferry reliability should improve as newer vessels enter service. Duncan Mackison said April and May had seen major disruption, with 10 of 37 vessels out of action. He admitted that had increased compensation costs, though he didn't specify by how much. Mr Mackison said the new fleet should help provide a more stable service, but more ships will be needed.
We have new vessels on the way, and that will bring the average age down, which will improve reliability and stability. But key to us is maintaining new vessels coming into our fleet, and roughly speaking, because of the nature of the size of our fleet and the average operating age needs to be about 30 years. We need a new vessel every kind of 1 year to 18 months to maintain that reliability.
Scotland striker Lyndon Dykes has paid tribute to his formative club, Queen of the South, for starting his football journey that's led him to the World Cup. The Aussie-born forward, who's gone on to have spells with Livingston, Queen's Park Rangers, Birmingham and Charlton, has been speaking ahead of the nation's next group stage match against Morocco.
Obviously growing up in Australia, playing all different sports and coming into professional football late, which was luckily through Queen of the South in Scotland, and Scotland gave me that chance to where I am now, and I'll be forever grateful, and all my family back in Dumfries.
This is getting boring.
Yeah, I would have never thought that I would be in this situation, but yeah, it's a dream come true.
And for now, that's BBC Radio Scotland News.
Saturday Show with Amy Irons and Stephen Mill, live from the Soccer World Series.
Are we still doing the World Series gag?
We're in the US of A, drinking in the World Cup atmosphere.
While the Tartan Army are drinking in the World Cup atmosphere.
Join us for the Saturday Show.
So I think it's the diplomatic way of putting it. It's not too bad.
So the hypocrisy of them, you know, they're pushing all that shit about the Tartan Army are away drinking fucking Boston Dry. It's excessive drinking, alcohol poisoning, you name it. But back home in Scotland, if you want to go and buy a bottle of Buckfast, they've chucked that extra charge on it because you are not capable of making your own decisions. What a lot of bastards there.
So a very soggy start through parts of Galloway, Ayrshire, in towards Inverbervie, the Glasgow area, and much further as well. And through the day tomorrow, that rain will move eastwards towards Stirling, Edinburgh, much of Fife and Angus. North of the central lowlands, it's a good bit drier, but still cloudy with a few showers. And because of that cloud, temperatures will be a couple of degrees down on today's days, with afternoon highs around 16 to 18 Celsius. The rain should tend to ease
Why is he one? Why did he put his indicator on the left? That was a mistake.
We've got more rain on the way on Friday, moving eastwards across the country, but moving slowly, so for the most part, with wet conditions.
On digital radio,
BBC Sound,
and your smart speaker.
Play BBC Radio Scotland.
And you're tuned to Drive Time. Now let's cross to France, where President Trump is speaking at the G7 meeting. Much of what he's had to say so far is focused on the proposed peace deal.
We can do this deal. We could have dropped more bombs for another 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 years. You would never have the Hormuz Strait open. You would never have success. Your market would have, instead of going up at levels that nobody's ever seen before, would go down at levels that nobody ever saw before, maybe except for 1929. And you know, all the tough guys don't realize that this wasn't a 3-month deal. This was years in the making. You know why? Because I was the one that killed General Soleimani. If I didn't kill General Soleimani, we probably wouldn't be talking right now about this deal, because he was a mad genius.
President Trump in France there, but in the Middle East, Israeli forces have carried out new strikes in southern Lebanon, despite criticism from the president. It all comes ahead of a potential deal between the US and Iran to end their war, which is supposed to be signed in Geneva this Friday. Details of the apparent agreement are still sketchy and haven't been released, but the mediator, Pakistan, says it will include Lebanon. Well, it's been Tim Marshall. Afternoon to you, Tim. Can this deal actually include...
Isn't it better when it was the fucking roundabout?
Are still bombing
Probably.
the country.
Well, the Iranians won't sign it without it. I'm very glad you just played such a short clip, because Mr. Trump began speaking at exactly 1 minute past 5, and he's still speaking now. He's doing that thing where he goes off script and just sort of meanders around for a couple of minutes and goes back onto the script. And he said the section, including the script you just picked up. But one thing many things.
This is an absolute fuck up.
He said, I think they might sign tomorrow.
So I better go up and I can't.
He was so vague, it makes me think they haven't actually agreed for every single word. You know, I don't think they've dotted every and crossed every T yet. And one of them, for example, you just pointed it out, is Israel is still bombing Hezbollah in Lebanon. Well, we're not sure about the text, but the leaked version is one of them says a ceasefire on all.
Can we start here?
And we raised by that means
flogging. So, we're not there yet.
So, are there still some question marks then with the thing that's doing on Friday? Because the year before we were also looking at the start and waiting for the month ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's clear this one is a lot closer than ever before. We have got closer before, but not as close as this, and because they have these various leak versions of the text, and they're both actually saying, yes, they've agreed. Where they differ is what they've agreed upon.
Fucking nightmare.
I mean, again, there is one text that the Americans, some American leaked, which clearly says there will be no tolls in the Strait of Hormuz. There is a text that is attributed to a leak from Iran that says there will be no tolls on ships going through the Strait of Hormuz for 60 days. So this is what I mean about, because of what Trump has just said about they might sign on Thursday, they might sign on Friday, and then he went into a rambling story about when he was used to be a real estate developer, how sometimes deals he thought were done weren't done, and I'm just thinking, this one's not done yet. I mean, I'm not saying it won't be signed, but there's clearly, there's some wrinkles to iron out yet.
He has said that if the Iranians, and I quote, don't behave, he will drop bombs smack in the middle of their heads. He has called the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu a good man who gets a little excited sometimes. Is talk like this likely to hinder any chance of a peace deal?
Normally you would say yes, but after, 6 years of Mr. Trump as president, no. Because I think people just sort of, you price in this kind of language. Now, the Hezbollah thing's interesting. I'm pretty confident that Hezbollah and Iran, because Iran will have the final say on this, were testing, probing, because they sent 3 drones into Israel to attack civilian areas. And very choice. If a sovereign nation has just been bombed by an external group, does it reply or not? If it doesn't reply, it looks weak and you're open to it happening over and over again. If it does reply in this example, you risk scuppering it. So I think they called Hezbollah and Iran's bluff, and the Israelis have responded. But it's not just that. I think that's a major one. Very quickly, there is the sanctions relief. There's the 60 days to talk about Iran's nuclear program. There's the enrichment cap on uranium. There's just so much which we're not aware of what the actual text says about.
And one thing I was wanting to ask is, does Iran have enough control over Hezbollah that it can say you have to stop? Does the US have the same level of control over Israel? Who has more control over their allies?
It's a good question. I'm pretty confident Iran does get the final say. It's harder between Israel and America. Iran, for example, does not have full control over Hamas. It doesn't have full control over the Houthis, but it pretty much, what it says, is what it does. No, I think the Israelis are, because it's an existential matter for them, they would be prepared to face what would be the rough. But let's hope we can get to Thursday or Friday, get it signed, look at the text, because only then can we decide who's come out better on this. Trump is trying to prepare the ground for saying that they are going to agree never to have a nuclear weapon, and he'll declare that as victory. But if Iran ends up having tolls that it can feed for ships going through the strait, if it gets sanctions relief, if it gets $24 billion in money that it can throw, and if it gets $300 billion in
Thank God for that. That took a while.
Rangers losing their manager, but look to be closing in on appointing a new one. We'll bring you more on that later, and of course news too of the opponents for the Scottish clubs in European qualifying rounds. But first to the World Cup, and the Scotland squad have been training here in Charlotte. Now earlier I told you that defender Scott McKenna didn't train this morning with the rest of the squad. We've got a bit more information on that. We're told that was always the plan. He was back in training yesterday after a bit of an injury in layoff. He was just coming back to full fitness, so they're just managing his load, so they didn't want him to train today. So that's maybe not as serious as we were first thinking, which is a bit of a bonus. The squad will leave Charlotte for Boston this afternoon as they prepare for
after
that
all
match.
that, the bastards.
The game that Steve Clarke admits is going to be a really tough challenge.
Well, obviously now we go into a game against Morocco, who are one of the top sides in the world.
Fucking been held up for an hour.
Very deep in the last
doing like 2 miles per hour. And you think, oh, I'm going to get a bit of speed up.
African Cup of Nations got to the
and
final.
The fucking
so
speed
we know we're playing a top team. Now the flip side of the first game for us is Morocco are now the favourites, rightly so, and we're now the underdogs. But we have to go into the game with a confidence and a belief that we can get a result, a positive result that we want. And that's how we focus on this one. For me, I've always sort of based my whole managerial career or outlook on the fact that ultimately it's a results driven, it's a results industry, and if you don't get wins, then everybody suffers. You know, you don't get what you want, you don't get the enjoyment that you want if you don't win matches. So I think in tournament football, it's certainly in the group stage for sure. It's all about, even in the knockouts. Listen, it's all about results, and because everybody wants to go as far as their talent and their organisation will allow them to go.
So Steve Clarke then gearing up for the Morocco game. Now, of course, the Scotland squad are training here in Charlotte, and that means Clarke has been crossing paths with one of his former players. Gary Dicker is now the assistant coach at Charlotte FC. He played under Clarke when he was the Kilmarnock manager. When I caught up with Dicker, Clarke was keen to get in on the act.
He was proper excited about being here and doing well and getting off to a good start. So to see them win and the reaction after it, the most animate to see them on the sideline. But after the game, you could see the focus was already for the next game. He'll enjoy the moment, but he got to move on quick. Sadly, you can see him coming up here now. But no, there's always good bits.
He was just telling us, Steve, how wonderful a manager you are.
I'm actually backing him wearing.
Well, tonight's never been a dinosaur. I was on Facebook from the very early days. I was one of the first Radio 4 presenters to have a blog. So, you know, the World Tonight has tried to keep pace with the changes that have been going on in the media world. And I think it's very sad that that's going to be missed.
Yeah. What are your memories of presenting the World Tonight, Robin?
Oh, so many. I mean, I think what I valued most was the opportunity to report on major world events as they were happening from the place where they were happening. I was in Berlin on the day that Germany was reunified in 1990. I was in Hong Kong in 1997 when it was handed back to China. I presented programs from Beijing, from Tokyo, from Kabul in Afghanistan, from Delhi, from most continents with the exception of Antarctica. I was able to take listeners to where news and interesting things were happening. I would say just one thing very quickly, Evan. NewsHour, which is going to take the place of The World Tonight at 10 o'clock on Radio 4 as from next April, is also a very good programme. I presented that for many years as well. But it's a programme that's designed for different listeners.
Yeah, it's a world service programme. Yeah, it's a world service programme. And essentially, and the BBC will be parallel. We'll be just taking it over and putting it onto the radio.
Yes, and I do think that means Radio 4 listeners will get just slightly less than they are accustomed to, because it will be a programme not designed for their needs and with their interests in mind, and I think that's a shame.
Robin, thank you for that. Robin missed it there. Now it's 30 minutes to 6, and Lisa can give us some other headlines.
Police have charged a man in connection with an arson attack on a memorial wall in Golders Green in northwest London. Ali Falahi, who's 45 and from Ilford in East London, is due to appear in court tomorrow. A private tutor who charged money to sit exams and submit coursework for dozens of students has been jailed for 3 years. 43-year-old Shahid Adnan is estimated to have earned more than £300,000 from the fraud. Jeremy Clarkson has revealed he's been diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer. He says it was detected early.
Thank you, Lisa. All the best to Jeremy Clarkson. Now, it only seems like yesterday that the Makerfield by-election was called. More or less, in fact, during the PM programme on the 14th of May, I was speaking live on PM to Pat McFadden, the Work and Pensions Secretary. that enables the country to be more prosperous and more secure. In fact, I need to give you some news. It is literally drifting across the screen in front of me. So Josh Simons, the MP for Macclesfield in the northwest, is going to step down. He wants Andy Burnham to return to Parliament. He thinks he's the one to lead Labour.
Well, let's take this one step at a time. Let's just read out that news to me. I think any unnecessary by-election is always a political risk.
Remember that moment? Did you hear? I said Macclesfield then, because we only got the memo about Makerfield, not Macclesfield, at about 5:45 that day, telling us how we should be pronouncing it. Well, look, brace yourself for politics to tread more heavily on your shoulder over the next few weeks, because the by-election result, whatever happens, will be a clarifying moment as to who is in the running to run the country. Andy Burnham may be back at Westminster, but even if he's not, West Treaty's made clear he's ready to launch a leadership challenge. It might all happen quite quickly, or maybe not. Maybe there will be a period of calm. Let's talk to Sienna Rogers, Deputy Editor of the House magazine, former editor of Labour List. Sienna, is Westminster, or more to the point, is Downing Street bracing itself for Friday?
I think things have been at a standstill. It's been quite a short by-election campaign, but everyone's just been waiting for this result. I mean, Labour sources certainly very nervous at the beginning of the campaign, but their optimism has grown. So there is quite a bit of confidence that Andy Burnham will be able to win this by-election. Obviously,
full list of candidates on the BBC website. Full list of candidates on the BBC website. Yeah. So, but what is Downing Street? Is Downing Street bracing itself, I don't know, for cabinet resignations on Friday afternoon and you know, a political challenge to the Prime Minister starting straight away?
Yeah, so I mean, I was told that Number 10 were preparing for potential resignations on Friday. So as soon as the result comes out, if Burnham wins, that there will be ministers resigning, and had drawn up lists of potential replacements for those people. And basically on Friday and over the weekend, the potential challengers are thinking that they'll give the Prime Minister a little bit of time to reflect on whether he wants to participate in any leadership contest that follows. And in doing so, I think they are hoping that there will be significant cabinet resignations and more junior ministerial resignations in order to nudge him in a certain direction.
And this point, do Labour MPs believe the Prime Minister when he says, I'm not going for it, you're going to have to fight me up and down the street, I will contest any leadership election?
Opinions vary on this. There is some scepticism, but more and more I have heard people saying, no, he really is this stubborn, and I believe that he's going to do it. He's going to stand in a leadership contest, even if it involves Andy Burnham. And according to all the polling of Labour members, that's a very, very difficult contest for the Prime Minister to win. There are some hopes that perhaps Labour members will feel the same way as they did when Jeremy Corbyn was challenged after only being Labour leader for a year, in that kind of defensiveness of, well, we elected this guy. Also, in Keir Starmer's case, of course, he has won a huge majority at the last general election. They're kind of relying on that sort of sentiment, and also hoping that some of the challengers' arguments will fall apart over the course of the contest.
Now, the other scenario, so we've really been talking about Burnham wins this thing. If Burnham loses, what happens?
Things are much less clear, partly because Labour people have not even been able to kind of contemplate a Burnham loss, and actually this doesn't even depend on which camp they're in, because all camps see that as quite a devastating result. Obviously, it would mean the Prime Minister may be a little bit more secure in his position in the kind of short term, but it would be very, very difficult, because it would mean Labour's most popular politician cannot hold on to that kind of seat, which would be very difficult for the party. So what happens next would be uncertain, but of course West Streeting is saying whatever happens, he believes that he has the numbers and will be ready to challenge next week. And there are other people waiting to throw their hand in the ring. We know that Alan Barnes, for example, is quite optimistic about launching his own kind of leadership campaign. So I think there will be movement, whatever happens.
Thank you for that. Now, in case you haven't heard, England played their first football game since 9 p.m. in Dallas, Texas. They're playing Freddie is an England fan from London who travelled to Dallas with his friends.
I'm a Crystal Palace fan, so I've been to plenty of Crystal Palace matches, but this is a whole different thing because you're getting fans from all over England, everyone's coming together. So it's been fun just walking into bars and walking around Dallas, talking to people from all across England really. It's our first World Cup, me and my friends, so we don't really know what to expect. So we're just looking forward to the match and hoping for a win, and also hoping England can bring it home.
John Murray is BBC's football correspondent. He is already in the Dallas Stadium in Arlington, Texas. And I mean, you're 3 hours ahead of time, John, but are there fans there? What's happening?
Yes, I've not long walked into the stadium here, and there were hundreds and hundreds, I would say probably thousands and thousands of England fans gathering outside the stadium in the warm sunshine. It is overcast right now, but inside the stadium it is air conditioned. So I'm in the air conditioned splendour of what is the very, very impressive home of the Dallas Cowboys, which, as we heard from that fan there, is in Arlington, which is midway between Dallas and Fort Worth. And the match will be played indoors or under a closed roof, so the temperature will be round about 20 degrees. So the sweltering conditions in many venues is not a factor for England and Croatia today.
I'm sure that won't stop them having the hydration break in the middle of each half. But John, are there many Croatian fans in there?
Yeah, very much so. They're here in their thousands as well. Yeah, I know very much that having seen England-Croatia matches on a number of occasions, not least that semi-final back in 2018, a number of times. You know, they've got a very passionate fan base as well, and they've got a very good case for optimism, because even though their squad is quite long in the tooth, the other way of looking at that is they are very, very experienced. They've got lots of experience of being involved in tournaments and have reached a semi-final and a final at the last two World Cups. So actually, Croatia have got a better record than England in recent years.
Okay, well look, England did win their final one weekend comfortably. Croatia's a little perhaps a slightly old team. Talk us through the arrangements, the way it's all been handled, how smooth it's all been going.
Well, it was the setback for England this week to lose a player from the squad. So Tino Livramento, the Newcastle United defender, had to pull out yesterday with a calf injury that he picked up on Sunday afternoon. So Trevor Chalobah was drafted in as a replacement. So that clearly is a setback. But other than that, for Thomas Tuchel, who'll be getting his first experience of being involved in a World Cup, it's been relatively smooth in the build-up to this opening match. But of course, this is where it all really begins to matter.
Thanks so much, John Murray there in Dallas.
I'm a reporter, Sue Mitchell, and this is Rob Laurie, an investigator.
If I get the name, I know I can find him.
In our last series, we managed to do what law agencies couldn't: track down a notorious people smuggler known as the Scorpion. Now we're looking for one of his successors, and he's every bit as ruthless.
If they know I'm talking about him, they come tonight, they will kill me. You don't even know how they killed me.
Intrigue to catch a king. Listen on BBC Sounds.
And let's get some weather from Louise Lee.
Good evening. Well, we're going to stick with this northwest-southeast divide with the weather story for the next couple of days. High pressure influencing the story across much of Europe, bringing some very hot June sunshine, quite widespread across Europe, and some of that will be impacting central and southern England. By contrast, close to an area of low pressure in Scotland, we will continue to see weather fronts into Northern Ireland, Northern England and Scotland over the next few days, so cooler and wetter here. So through the night tonight, we'll see the first signs of a front bringing some rain, some of it heavy into Northern Ireland. It's going to be pushing its way across the Irish Sea, through the Isle of Man, to North Wales and Northern England by dawn. It'll be cloudy and showery for Scotland on and off throughout the day on Thursday. For England and Wales, May will start off quite murky across the southwest and some low cloud through the Midlands, but that will lift, brighten up, some sunshine come through and the winds lighten. It will be quite hot and humid throughout the day. So with that sunshine, temperatures will really start to respond, generally mid-20s, but we could see them as high as 27 or 28 degrees, that's 82 Fahrenheit. Where we've got the cloud and the rain lingering further north, a good 10 degrees down, with top temperatures around 7 or 18 Celsius. Similar story as we go into Friday, and we keep that cooler, wetter theme to the north and west, hot and humid to the south and east, drier and better, all by the weekend.
Thanks Foods, that's PM. Pat Sissons was studio director, Sam Mason-Jones, our editor. Don't forget the world tonight at 10.
BBC News at 6 o'clock. This is Tom Sanders. Good evening. The final pictures are being made to voters in Makerfield.
The country's divided, there's a lot of people need a lot of things sorting out. It's been since the Second World War.
The outcome could decide if Sir Keir Starmer stays in number 10. He has this warning for the man who wants to replace him.
If Anthony Burnley does, straight into the Manchester Mayoral team.
It's not going very fast. Not going very fast, guys. Doing about 50. Yeah. He's going to overtake me, guys. He's going to overtake me. It's a Mark 3 estate. And it looks like it's been lifted at the back. Oh yes, it's an import in-reg. It's probably a 6-cylinder. I wouldn't have it lifted like that. You. Smells good.
BBC News at 6 o'clock. This is Tom Sanders. Good evening. The final pictures are being made to voters in Makerfield.
The country's divided, there's a lot of people need a lot of things sorting out. It's been since the Second World War.
The outcome could decide if Sir Keir Starmer stays in number 10. He has this warning for the man who wants to replace him.
If Anthony Burnley does, straight into the Manchester Mayoral team.
It's not going very fast. Not going very fast, guys. Doing about 50. Yeah. He's going to overtake me, guys. He's going to overtake me. It's a Mark 3 estate. And it looks like it's been lifted at the back. Oh yes, it's an import in-reg. It's probably a 6-cylinder. I wouldn't have it lifted like that. You. Smells good. So we're following a Mark 3 Cortina Estate. Smells good. It's better than any of your modern shite. It doesn't look too good to have been jacked up at the back. But as it went past, it looked like the interior was good. I'm not sure if I've seen it out cut. There must be one like that in the car show a bit. probably South African import. Does it come from Australia? Because it looks like a 6-cylinder. How did I know that? I think it just sounded like a 6-cylinder. It's an estate, big 6-cylinder estate from South Africa, and it looks cool. But
the SNP's former chief executive, Peter Muddle, has admitted embezzling money from his party, and Reform UK has become a serious player in Scottish politics, although the Conservatives insist they too remain competitive in North East Scotland. In both constituencies, we heard concerns about high prices for consumers and businesses, complaints about a lack of affordable housing, and worries about the health service. But in Aberdeen South, the North Sea is dominating discussion. For decades, the city was known as the energy capital of Europe, but now employment in oil and gas is falling faster than jobs in renewable energy are being created, contributing to a general mood of discontent.
Well, we knew that.
There are full lists of candidates for these by-elections and the contest in Makerfield on the BBC News website.
We knew that.
In the past hour, President Trump has again warned he's ready to resume military action against Iran if it fails to abide by its obligations.
If I can stick a load of concrete in the ground, shove the thing there, then after 15 years it's fucked. That's it. What are you going to do? Just maintain it? Top it up oil?
Economic catastrophe had been a possibility if the war continued. Our correspondent James Waterhouse reports from the G7 in Evian-les-Bains.
We expected Donald Trump to dominate this year's G7 gathering as some of the world's richest economies, and he did. Topics like online safety and economic growth were discussed today, but the focus remained on America's war with Iran and how it ends. Mr. Trump has taken many an opportunity to talk up the memorandum of understanding he has agreed with Iran. But when he was asked whether it was final, he had this warning.
No, it's not final. It's a memorandum of understanding, and if I don't like it, we'll go back to shooting at them, dropping bombs.
We'll go back to shooting at them.
They'll behave. We'll go right back to dropping bombs right smack in the middle of their head.
Mr. Trump claims there is consensus with the Iranian regime on allowing toll-free travel through the Strait of Hormuz. Nick Butler, former head of strategy at BP, suggests the president knows that if the passage doesn't open soon, significant global economic challenges would follow.
He looks desperate to do a deal, and I'm sure he's being told by business and other people in the US that if we don't get new supplies coming, he sees a real economic problem coming up. And the Iranians see this too, that he is under pressure, and they have every incentive to push for more.
If the deal is formally signed on Friday, more negotiations will follow.
We'll try to bring you more details of the agreements between the US and Iran later in this bulletin. The government has issued the biggest penalty so far for a breach of its sanctions against Russia.
So we're back to Stirlingshire.
Has been ordered to pay £1 million.
I've got rain. Are we in Stirlingshire yet?
Available to a sanctioned Russian airline
Was this Perth?
in 2022. They also tested alternative payment routes to get around the restrictions. A spokesperson for the firm said it's been focusing on further strengthening its compliance with sanctions. The Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson has confirmed that the government is to issue a formal apology to the victims of historical forced adoptions in England. Newborn babies were taken away from women in 3 decades after the Second World War, but their mothers were unmarried. The Scottish and Welsh governments already apologised.
Mothers are unmarried. Yeah, that's how it used to be.
Historical forced adoptions stain generations of unmarried women and their babies. There are no exact figures for how many were affected, but one parliamentary inquiry set up 5 years ago, after the BBC first reported on the story, concluded that around 185,000 babies were taken from their unmarried mothers between 1949 and 1976. Giving evidence to MPs, the Education Secretary, Bridget Phillipson, today confirmed the government was now going to apologise for the state's role in what happened.
That'll be why. Oh, aye, that's why. Oh, I better not say. That's why, yeah. Yes. It all makes sense.
education, which might have enabled them to keep their child. Diana de Vries was 16 when she was pressured into giving up her daughter. She welcomes the official apology.
Hugely relieved.
That was there this morning.
Because we've put a lot of work in. We've spent a lot of time campaigning, and some of the people who should be here to hear those words won't be here because they're either too elderly or we've lost them. So it's poignant.
The Scottish and Welsh governments gave their own apologies in 2023, following BBC reports. No date has been given for the UK government apology, but it is expected.
That's really helpful, getting an apology when you're fucking dead.
The painful chapter of British post-war social life is finally to be recognised as a terrible injustice.
The National Crime Agency says British, German and French police have seized boats, engines and pumps that would have been used by people smugglers to send more than 2,000 migrants to the UK. 21 raids were carried out last month in Germany. The details have only just been released, as our home and legal correspondent Dominic Eshiani reports.
The raids are being considered by the law enforcement agencies as one of the biggest successes since Germany's police agreed to take on a crucial role in tracking the gangs. A joint operation involving the NCA, German police and French prosecutors seized 13 inflatable boats, 360 pumps, 20 engines and 9,000 life jackets from locations across the northwest of Germany. Warehouses close to the Belgian border have long been used by smugglers to store equipment for fast and undetected delivery to the French beaches, and the NCA said many of the items were bundled up and ready to go. The massive seizure on the 21st of May was kept secret until now, while other related investigations continued. Figures from the Home Office show that more than 1,200 migrants were prevented from getting on boats in May, 40% of all attempted crossings. The French have also begun intercepting boats after they have put to sea, a tactic the UK believes will be crucial in the months to come.
French riot police now operating on the country's northern beaches following the UK's deal with France in April, aimed at deterring small boat crossings. The officers will be supported by drones and aerial surveillance systems. Be deployed on specific days to locations where people smugglers may try to launch boats. You're listening to the 6 o'clock news on BBC Radio 4. The main news so far: parties have made their final pitches to voters in Makerfield ahead of a by-election which could shape the political landscape. President Trump has warned that he's ready to resume military action if Iran doesn't abide by its obligations. Still to come, nearly 40, still commanding the global stage.
Out of the deep, Goss has shot it! That's his hat-trick! What a story! What a story! Lionel Messi hat-trick!
Lionel Messi's World Cup masterclass. Also at the World Cup, England are preparing to begin their campaign tonight. They face Croatia in Texas at 9 o'clock. Up to 15,000 England fans are expected to attend the game, which will be the Three Lions' first major tournament appearance under their new manager Thomas Tuchel. Our sports editor Dan Rowan reports from Dallas Stadium in Arlington.
England have had to wait to get their World Cup campaign underway, but finally their quest to end the team's 60-year-long wait for silverware is about to begin. England enjoyed a flawless qualification campaign, becoming the first European side to seal their place in the tournament, and captain Harry Kane arrived here in devastating form after scoring 61 goals in 51 matches in all competitions for Bayern Munich last season. However, head coach Thomas Tuchel has yet to secure a victory against a country in FIFA's top 20, and 11th ranked opponents Croatia represent a challenging start. Under his predecessor, Sir Gareth Southgate, a revitalised England progressed to the latter stages of their last 4 major tournaments, and Tuchel's task is to ensure his players take the final step to glory.
We dream. I think we have a right to dream, but we don't want to be delusional. We know that it comes with the responsibility. The responsibility is on the effort. We want to put the effort in and deserve the outcome.
With the Dallas Stadium boasting a roof and air conditioning, the fierce Texas heat will not be a problem for England. Their opponents may be, however. With a population of less than 4 million, Croatia punches above its weight in international football. Captained by legendary midfielder Luka Modric, they were runners-up in 2018 when they beat England in the semi-finals, before also reaching the last 4 in 2022, only to lose to eventual champions Argentina.
closed.
Beginning each evening with a sound of Big Ben, the midnight bulletin has been part of Radio 4's daily schedule from its beginning.
That's not the one where the accident was.
BBC News at midnight.
No.
World Tonight followed soon after, 1970.
It's not far from here.
Replaced with World Services News app. The midnight bulletin was to go on TV. BBC Continents, The Bush, Antisocial, and Money on Fire. BBC's acting head of news, Jonathan Monroe, said it was a matter of concentrating resources and building radio audiences.
It's really important that we protect the biggest radio audiences, and they tend to be enormous. So we've chosen to take out the world's money. I know that's about the difference. But we make another reason for the service. So we then need to protect them into a tool that says it's obviously efficient. This is just part of the wider 5 people doing
Operations Director Jim Macri has said he's reviewed all of BBC's portfolio of channels and services. Outstanding National Union of Journalists says this is a moment of government.
Those cuts are going to be devastating for all the communities everywhere, as well as the political club. It's clear the government is not going to come soon enough to stop these cuts. That's why we're going to mention it today.
Altogether, TV and video content, 450 hours of radio audio materials, 2,000 jobs going by the end of this particular series program.
The BBC says operations about the television presenter Ashley Kane are being taken seriously. It's understood the corporation refused comments on his social media accounts, which remember that before he worked for the BBC are deplorable. Ashley Kane is best known for his BBC Three show Into the Danger Zone, but also featured on BBC One. This report is from Nick Johnson. You may find some of the language offensive.
Ashley Kane played professional football in the late 2000s, appearing for teams including Coventry City and Mansfield Town, before he moved into reality TV.
I don't really know how to feel right now. I don't know what to think. My adrenaline is spiking a bit.
Last year, he presented a BBC Three series, Into the Danger Zone, which saw him travel to some of the world's most unsafe areas.
Reality TV star and former professional footballer Ashley Kane.
I have unparalleled self-belief, and that's the energy that I'm taking into the MasterChef kitchen.
He also reached the semi-final of 2025 Celebrity MasterChef. But multiple social media posts on Ashley Kane's account between 2011 and 2015, which were initially reported by The Guardian and which have been seen by BBC News, refer to women as sluts, slags and hoes, and make further sexist, sexually explicit and violent remarks towards women. Ashley Kane currently has more than 2 million followers on Instagram. The Guardian said the tweets were publicly available until last night. It's understood the BBC was unaware the alleged remarks had been posted on social media. BBC News has contacted Ashley Kane's representatives for comment.
The former Oil Minister of Nigeria, Diezani Alison Madueke, has been cleared by a court in London of corruption charges. 2 other defendants were also acquitted in a major setback for UK law enforcement. Stephen Swan followed the case at Southwark Crown Court.
Diezani Alison Madueke was Nigeria's oil minister between 2010 and 2015 and was the first female president of the oil exporters group OPEC. She was accused of receiving kickbacks from wealthy oil tycoons, including £2 million worth of goods from Harrods and the use of multi-million-pound properties in London and Buckinghamshire. But from the start of the trial in January, defence lawyers questioned the fairness of the prosecution's case, suggesting vital documents that proved Ms Alison Madueke's innocence had gone missing in Nigeria. They said the long delay in bringing the case to court was unjust and a sign of Britain's broken criminal justice system. The National Crime Agency said it respected the judicial
Stirlingshire.
Green is dedicated to the thousands of anti-government protesters killed in Iran earlier this year. Ali Khamenei, who's 45 and from Ilford in East London, is due to appear at Westminster Magistrates Court tomorrow.
Transport Secretary Heidi Alexander has said the backlog of driving tests in England, Scotland and Wales won't be reduced to target levels until autumn next year. The average waiting time to book a test last month was nearly 22 weeks, well above the government's 7-week goal. Here's our Transport correspondent Katie Austin.
For years now, while the drivers have expressed frustration at the difficulty of booking practical driving tests at the time and location they need them. Changes to the system have recently been introduced, aimed at cutting long wait times and preventing slots being booked up, for example being hoovered up by so-called online bots and resold at inflated prices. Only learners themselves can now book tests, and swapping to different dates or locations is limited. The DVSA's initial target of reducing the average waiting time to 7 weeks had already slipped from the end of last year to this summer. Heidi Alexander told the MPs early evidence suggested the changes were having an effect, but she acknowledged there was still work to do.
We return to the World Cup now, and a remarkable performance from one of football's greatest players. Lionel Messi marked his 200th appearance for the reigning champions Argentina, with a hat-trick against Algeria in the early hours.
Where is the Cortina going? Is it going straight on? Or is it going to turn in the Bridge of Ireland? This is where that accident was. So the lay-by here on the left. Need to have a look, so I couldn't quite figure out what caused it. Where is the lay-by? Up here. Is it there? There. Seen some hay inside there. I can't remember what was in the back of the truck. It was fully loaded. It looked like the truck must have ran into somebody that pulled out of the lay-by, I would imagine. Cortina's taking it a bit wide there. So that body shape stayed with the estate. It's pretty much the same tailgate, the Mark 4 and 5. Was it this lay-by? No. Is it? No, it was one. I can't remember. Don't know which way to go. I'll go straight on to the left through past the Western Arms. Which way? I know. I think I spoke to that guy, didn't I? Didn't I speak to him in the car show? I can't remember. Cannot remember. It's not looking good with the jacking kit. Wednesday, isn't it? Yeah. Was that noise? Smashing noise. Our Cortina has left us. Yeah. Oh, it's not that far away. It's up there. seen a few like that. So, where's the Cortina going to go? My guess is to Alloa. It lives in Alloa. Oh my god, I wasn't expecting it to turn left. Just maybe, he's in the wrong lane. KKH 712N. Right, so we've got a choice here. We go the way we came. I think we'll just go the way we came, or we can turn right. So we're left following a classic car, and we're arriving following a classic car. These things can handle alright if you get them set up properly. I used to go flying into corners with mine Mark 3 Cortina, no problem at all. I think we'll go, doesn't matter what way the Cortina go, we're going to go second on the left. That's where they're fucking going as well. Right, we're definitely turning right here. I don't think they will be. Why not? They might be. They might be turning right, it's unlikely. Very unlikely. They'll be going straight on. They'll be staying in Alloa or Tullibuddy or something. Bye bye Cortina! I know what's wrong with that thing. There's a screw in the side of it. Just needs screwing in. Slow down 50. Oh, the half-wit's turning right. Journey. I'm some fucking moron in the way. Going and then turn left, turn right. What are they going to be doing? What do you think? Oh, they don't need indicators, do they? No. Don't need indicators. They can just toodle along themselves. Oh, I don't need indicators to turn right or anything. Fucking arsehole. Jesus. Right then, so thanks for coming along. Useless bastard, eh? That prison guy was a twat, wasn't he? The protesters, how does he know they're racists? Because they don't like somebody getting their throat. Well, it was a decapitation, but it was. That's shocking, that. Right, thanks for watching. We're away. Bye.